Woo! The American werewolf is here, and it is time to bring the good people, the good boys and girls of this country, this republic, more information. So let's get going. Nobody cared who I was until I took off the mask. Of the public transmitting utility, commonly known as the straw man. What's going on, guys? It is the Bad Wolf, the Man in Black. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance. If this is your first time here, I do so appreciate you, each and every one of you guys. Um, so I am blessed to see this morning that once again I got emails from some more clients and viewers declaring their victory in the court system. Huzzah. It is just a magnificent thing. I haven't even gotten to my all the I haven't the seminars out yet on how to do a lot of this yourselves, and people are already getting the video or getting the knowledge from here and doing it. So it's going to be even more fabulous when I'm about to break the piggy bank and start providing you guys with the seminars on all of my tools to success. All right. And sure, a lot of people will say, well, why would you put out all the tools and secrets that you know? Because there's always going to be more, one, that I can learn. Two, this is information that all of us should have been taught since day one. And three, well, you know what? If there comes a day where you guys don't need the wolf, then so be it. I will find something else to do. I have numerous other topics on health and life and esoteric and energy and secret societies, um, meditation, relationship. I'm not that worried about it. Matter of fact, if I would have started this channel along with all those other topics at the same time, I would be overwhelmed. So if the day comes where everybody's learned all the information I have, God bless America, because then I will no longer be needed here and I will move on to other things. All right. So I don't have a problem, unlike some of these other gurus who are afraid that they are going to run out of things to say. So they have to keep talking about the same things over and over. They have to abide by YouTube's algorithm and make sure they keep you watching the videos for an hour so that they can try to make that YouTube money. I'm not worried about it. I'm not doing this for that. To me, this is by my faith in the power of God. That's who I serve. I don't know who some of these other people serve, but one day you might have to answer to somebody who you thought wasn't real or you'd never meet. I will come there, just like in this court and maritime system, with clean hands. That doesn't mean I'm perfect, but it does mean that I always try to do the right thing. I think that's all that the Creator can ever ask of us. Anyway, I digress. So, as always, guys, make sure that you guys do not get scammed by people. If the program or file that they're offering costs a lot, keep in mind that that just means that they're not really sure of their product. Sorry, because all of it out there is out there for free. So why are you charging so much for it? Now, I do believe in charging people for their time and for their creation, and even for bringing it to you. But they have to learn it, understand it, and then bring it to you. So that's worth something. But remember, as always, guys, you can find all this stuff on your own out there somewhere if you just look. Watch enough videos where you take the bits and pieces from this guy, that girl, this guy, and that person, bring them all together and do your own thing. As always, I will steer you guys towards not doing a whole lot of financial things, because if they're going to bank you, that's where it is, trying to claim all these accounts and things in that nature. I'm not saying don't. I know lots of people personally are working on them in the private and they are trying to master them. I'm just saying that there's no such thing as getting something for nothing. It's going to cost you somewhere something, ass, cash, or grass. Okay, at some point in time, it's going to cost you something. But if you don't want to cost you those things, then you have to put in the time, call these agencies, see what they have to say, understand that you might not be you're definitely not talking to the manager or the legal department to get the best advice. As always, I am not in your DMs messaging you on things. Very rarely do I get to reply. So thank you for the shout outs and the care, especially to all the love I've been getting over on TikTok over there. Like that TikTok channel almost has more viewers than my Badwolf media channel, which has been up for a couple of years now, but kind of sitting in the dark. So join me on any of those platforms. If you're not sure which one is me, go to blackside32.com and go on my social media page, and you will see which ones that are really me. But as always, I will never, ever, ever ask you for money other than here as a donation or for services on Black Slide 32. It will never be in anywhere else whatsoever. My hand to God. I don't do that in the first place like that. Okay. So it ain't me. And I am not responsible if you get ripped off or scammed or whatever else from somebody pretending to be me. So don't send money. And if you're not sure, then email me at the 2 emails that I provide on Black Site. Email me right from there to ensure it's me. Okay, not the AI little thing in the corner. That's the AI that runs my site because that's where we're in technology now. The actual normal emails, which is just James C. Lovett at yahoo.com or what is the other one? U.S. National Passport at yahoo.com. Anything else may not be me. So email me on one of those. Hey, is this you? Is this your offer? And I'll tell you, no, it wasn't me. If it's not on my website, it wasn't me. I'm not offering you that stuff. I will probably do a class on things that I've done for investing purposes, and you may copy them if you choose, but I'm not going to ask you to send me money to invest for you. I don't have that kind of time. All right. So as always, guys, if you guys are suffering short on rent, food, whatever it is, check blacksite32.com out. There are resource pages which have things that might be able to help you. I've made videos on them and videos on how to do a lot of these processes in your local area to find them. All right. Um, so thank you to all those people and even to the trolls out there who put my information up talking trash. It's funny because you guys have actually helped my numbers go up. That's the funny part. All right. And if you're worried about me, the funny thing is I've already beaten you because I'm not worried about you. All right. If you run your own race, just helpful criticism out there. If you run your own race, you'll find that you'll get to where you need to be. But if you're worried about me, I've already won. And I'm not worried about you or thinking about you. Okay. Next, to all those people who have given me tips, tricks, techniques who are inside of certain agencies and things of that nature and whatever else, thank you for that information from postal things to state things to whatever. Thank you guys. I will continue to bring you guys the things that I can put on the public side. Those people who want to be a part of the private pack, you can join me on any of my social medias, the Telegram groups, and definitely join the newsletter on Black Site. Sign up for that if you guys haven't gotten that yet. The Badwolf Media channel, my backup channel on YouTube. Join me on that. Because I'm gonna start talking about all kind of wild stuff that you guys need to know on that channel. We're gonna be wild over there. All right. And then if you want to join the Wolf Pack, once again, that's on YouTube. Just hit the subscribe, go to my main channel, that main page on YouTube, and click it. Pick a level you want to get in on, and you will have access to all the behind the scenes videos and commentary and whatever else. Other than that, I think that's good enough. We've talked long enough. All right, so without further ado, let's get to the video. So what is this particular video about? Well, as always, I am glad you asked. This one is going to be titled The Bankruptcy of America, 1933, and the Introduction to the New Legal System. Now, understand that what we know today as our normal system is only one of two main systems. Your stateside legal system is brought to you by the state of, enter your state here. And as we've said before, legally, they are foreign to the United States of America. They do their own private thing, but they are supposed to also uphold our constitutional rights and values. Well, all of that system is different than the federal system, which operates on the constitutional level. Those are two different legal systems. One's legal, the ones you use on a daily basis, which is the ones you have the most problems with. And the other one is lawful, real law. The other stuff that they're doing is considered essentially private law, private international law, because they are legally international. Okay, and the legal department knows what I'm talking about, not the subservience of the low-level functionaries. Um, but that group that you cannot just get in, if you come from Canada or Australia, you can't just join the public. Why? Because it's a PMA, private members association. You have to be here long enough or approve or actually naturalize to the government, then you have access to that. Either one, the legal side, the lawful side, the public, the private, or the Constitution. You have a choice. You can go into any of those things at that point in time. So, but this system was not always in place. See, we don't know about it because we're almost 100 years later. But the founding fathers, if they were alive today, them old cats would have been locking and loading and telling us to, hey, y'all better join us. They finna try to do it again and going down and handling some business. You best believe if they were, most of them would be, not the ones who sold us out, but most of them would be like, go get the get. We finna show them where it's at. Get the tar, get the feathers. Somebody get the pitchforks. Oh, so let's, without any further ado, we're gonna take a little excerpt out of Judge Dale's manual. Okay, and once again, this information and commentary is provided by me. However, the views referenced in these materials are not exactly my views. It's just raw information. Everything here is considered educational and entertainment and informational purposes only. You are to do your own due diligence and research. We don't assume any responsibilities for any materials here. Previously said, forwardly said, materials, you are on your own, you are grown. If you're not grown, then you shouldn't be listening and doing any of this stuff anyway. We are non-belligerents, non-combatants, and we are against any sovereign movements. We are private sector citizens known as nationals of the United States or citizens or nationals of the several states for the GPO Styles Manual, section 5.23. Holla, let's get going. All right, so we're going to highlight and we're going to read aloud.
By the 73-inch Congress, was voted into law, which is the Emergency Banking Act. This act declared the Treasury of the United States bankrupt, which is an impossible feat since the U.S. Treasury was secretly closed by the Congress 12 years earlier in 1921. The Emergency Banking Act succeeded in abrogating America's gold standard and hypothecated all property.
Okay, so abrogated or abridged, however you want to say it, doesn't matter to me. Tomato, tomato. That means to step over or outside or around what we had in place that they were not supposed to do. The forefathers and whatnots all tried to make sure that they couldn't do exactly what they're doing to us today. But these, you know what? Not even going to go there. They found a way. Then they found a way to hypothecate or separate us from our properties by having us register them because you have the legal right to register whatever you want to whoever you want. Let's keep going.
Found within the United States to the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve Bank. All sovereign American citizens residing within the Republic of States suddenly and falsely were expatriated from their sovereign American status.
So did you hear that? What they're saying is you were expatriated. That means you were removed from your GPO Styles Manual, section 5.23, standing, because real men and women stand, not your status, you're standing as a living man under the Constitution. You waived those rights. You are continually waived and waiving while you're using their all caps name and your stuff, or you are registered to them or to something of theirs, because they are international, they are foreign, though allowed to be here with the sanction of Congress and the federal government. It'd be no different than if I went over to Russia and I made Russian fried chicken as a person of color here, me, the bad wolf, and I said, hey, sign up for free chicken once a month. And then they don't read the fine print. And then in the fine print, it says, by signing up, you have registered with America or Lovitica Nation or the Bad Wolf Nation. Now I have access to you and your stuff. Here's your special number. Here's your upper and lowercase name, or your name is now all in blue. That's what they did.
Status, without their knowledge or consent, and their labor, souls, children, property, sweat equity and credit became the financial collateral for the public debt, which had then been converted into a public trust, which had been scripted after the ancient Roman trusts. Degree. Script money or negotiable debt instruments was issued by a private corporation, which is owned by a group of.
All right, so they're going to talk about certain people, ethnicities in here. I'm going to try to avoid that because, well, I don't want anybody to think that I am against anybody. So I'm going to try to refeed, not, if you guys want to read it word for word, you guys can get the document on Black Site 32, but I don't want this particular person's views, whether they're correct in these particular people or other people and their operation and control of our government or various things. That's not what we're about right here and right now. We will never spread any type of negative anything against any person or classes of people, whether true or not. That's not what we're here about. We're just here about the cold facts. You guys can use your own discernment.
Government was to be redefined under U.S.C., United States Code, Title 50, the Trading with the Enemy Act, in which American citizens are defined as an enemy of their government, and this is the reason why Lincoln's declaration of war is renewed yearly by Congress and the President.
So when you guys have heard me say the Trading with the Enemy Act, it's because we as Americans are the closest threat to the District of Columbia, which is not. We are considered their potential enemies. And if you are not one of them, then you're foreign. So America is foreign in relationship to the District of Columbia. And the U.S. citizen is considered foreign to America, though they are accepted to be here and they have the same rights as we, mostly the same rights and things as we nationals. Okay? So if you do business with somebody who's foreign or you're foreign, you are considered a potential threat. That's why we here are patriots, non-belligerents, non-combatants. We are neutral with all parties worldwide and international and universal. We just want the truth. We're not against anybody. We're not against any color, race, creed, nationality, orientation. You name it, we're not against it. As long as anything you do with somebody, they're of age and you have consent. That's how we move here as wolves.
President. In the same year, President Roosevelt closed the Virginia Colony Corporation and opened a new government corporation called the United States, Incorporated.
Notice how they didn't say America. That's why I told you guys before. There are multiple definitions for the term the United States. One is the body politic, which is Congress. Another one can be the United States of America. And the other one is the corporation located under UCC 9-307. Location of the debtor, the District of Columbia. So if you don't see America, you have to question which government are you utilizing? The organic, constitution-based, or the corporate, internal courtroom gold fringe having? These are separate entities. And I learned that from a man named Leonard C. Brody, who was a military um, honorable discharge person who knew all about that, because that particular code with the flag is under Army Regulations 840-10. Look it up. You can also look up what is it? Article 4, Title 4 of the American flag, and look at the description. It does not mention the gold fringes. If it has gold fringes, it's not American. It is U.S. and corporate. Essentially like having a evil fraternal twin sister.
The Federal Reserve Act was designed and written by a German national who was repatriated into the United States in 1903 through Ellis Island of New York. His name was Paul Warburg, and who was a carbon copy of Alexander Levine Hamilton. Mr. Warburg was a Sabbatean German Jewish banker and CFO of the Rothschild banking empire. Mr. Warburg's assignment was to craft a piece of legislation designed to control the finances of the United States corporation from.
All right, so you will hear some bleep outs in there because, like I said, we don't want to aggravate any specific group or so don't mind the pauses in there.
From Europe. The Federal Reserve Act is approximately 1,500 pages and places the currency and finance for the United States corporation under a private corporation called the Federal Reserve.
Facts.
The Federal Reserve is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the Sabbatean/Rothschild banking empire and not by the people or the corporate government of the United States. The Great Depression of 1929, like so many other catastrophes before and after this date, was actually a staged event, concocted by the Sabbatean/Rothschild and Rockefeller banking empires, the Queen and British Parliament, the U.S. President and Congress, the Vatican and numerous elite families to steal America's gold and silver reserves and replace it with negotiable debt instruments or script money.
That's what they
Their
did.
theft was
Now
ingenious,
keep
and
in
by allowing
mind
the public
that when they were talking to the people, they were talking to U.S. citizens, not to nationals. That's how they got us. They took all of our gold, put it in pots, and then hypothetically, educationally, there may or may not be any GOLD still in there. Might be a little bit, but from what I've heard, not much is left in there.
public to fall on hard times, the public soon began to demand that the government fix the problem by any means necessary. This was like self-mutilation being repaired with a band-aid. Note, while everyone struggled in this country to survive, President Roosevelt and the Congress were making interest-bearing loans to foreign governments using the very money they publicly swore did not exist. Germany used that money to enlarge their war chest. The American public, however, was so self-indulged about their own personal fate that they never considered or asked how it was possible that all of the above government individuals never personally lost a dime during the Great Depression and how they all. 46.
All right, let's go to the next page.
Continued to enjoy their family estates and personal wealth.
Yeah, so people were in the streets during these times eating dirt and leaves but yet none of these elites, none of these upper people in the corporation suffered nearly any type of loss or hardship.
Remember the term functional illiterates? Need I say more? We all have been trained to believe that someone not born on American soil is an alien. However, we forget to consider that the Declaration of Independence was written completely by aliens, and not one adult colonist or founding father was born on American soil.
Facts.
The immigration laws of the United States are contrary to the Declaration of Independence, and the biggest terrorist on the planet is now the United States government. This fact will be further discussed.
That can be considered hearsay or just educational information.
Discussed later on. Following the 1933 bankruptcy, most Americans were not aware that H.R. 1491 or H.R. 4960 had been secretly passed, wherein the U.S. Congress actually relinquished our right to have or accumulate gold and silver. The Congress eventually repealed part of this legislation to accommodate jewelers, but all Americans are still prohibited from having or accumulating solid gold and silver. Hence, our coins are no longer solid gold or silver but are tin and nickel-plated, carbon-filled coins. Pennies are tin and copper-plated carbon-filled coins. These acts also established the requirement of licensing, and then with the enactment of the Trading with the Enemy Act, under War and National Defense, the Confiscation Act, the Reconstruction Act and the Lieber Code were all tied together to create the secret fascist government of the United States. Note.
Now, those are some things you guys should look up. The Confiscation Act, the Reconstruction Act. All right. You guys should look up, and the Lieber Code. Look those up, or maybe I'll just make some videos on them. We'll see. I think I did. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember if I did those or not, but let's keep going.
Note, the word license is defined in all modern law dictionaries as a permit to do something unlawful. Now think about that and consider all.
So it's a permit to do something that is unlawful. Just ponder that for a moment. Shouldn't the permit to do something that's legal? Because unlawful, so lawful means good and constitutional. So unlawful would mean something that's not constitutional or would take away your constitutional rights. Something that you would have to be, it would be legal, but the opposite of a right. So you're essentially saying, I want to walk away from my right and to do something. It doesn't mean you can't do it without them, but they're saying you are now going to be doing something that you can do on your own, but we're going to charge you for it, bring you into our jurisdiction, and now you're and so that is unlawful.
All the licenses you currently hold? Those licenses are civil contracts that have been issued to you by the government only so that you may do something lawful but rather unlawful. E.g., when two people apply for a marriage license, the two of you enter into a binding contract, and by applying for a license to marry, you now have voluntarily included the state as a third party to your marriage. If things don't work out in that marriage, the state is first to be satisfied. E.g., your right to travel is an unalienable right defined by the Declaration of Independence and not a privilege, and yet the government demands that you apply for a driver's license.
Because if you're going to drive, which is different than travel, driving is commercial. And you're using the streets for profit that we paid for. So we need to get paid back for the damage that people are doing to our streets by utilizing them. Even if it's you, you're essentially paying yourself to do Uber through your taxes. They take a chunk out of it, give some to the government, and let you do what you're doing because you are operating as one of them in that moment. Now, one of the big issues people have had, they've come and say to me and said, "Wolf, can I do business or a private, compensation on the roads?" And I'm like, well, yeah, yes, you can. But if you're going to work for a big company that's commercial, then that becomes a commercial thing. So if you do it yourself, it's private. But when you go through a company and do these things, then, well, that's public.
License. Google right to travel and read the millions of old court rulings that cite our right to travel without a license. The courts now refuse to honor those old precedents of law since 1938 because of a Supreme Court case titled Erie Railroad v. Tompkins, 304 U.S. 64, 1938.
You just have to do it one page at a time. Let's go.
Mr. Tompkins attempted to walk along a set of railroad tracks when he was struck by an appendage fastened to a mail train, and he subsequently sued claiming negligence and damages on the part of the railroad. What Tompkins didn't know was that the railroads were in partnership with the corporate United States government, and so to protect the government, the Supreme Court ruled that, absent a ticket or license, Tompkins was trespassing on railroad property and therefore he was barred from any relief. This ruling wiped the slate clean by eliminating all.
So what they did was they basically said, look, the area that you were walking was private. You didn't have a ticket, stamp, or permission to be there. So how are you going to hurt yourself on my property without my permission to be there and then want relief? Now, I hate to admit it, but it's true. Now, he probably could have gone after them if there were no signs anywhere, because he could say, well, this wasn't designated as a dangerous area or a train crossing. It's just the same reason why the lady won the McDonald's $1 million lawsuit for having hot coffee, which we all know is hot. She ordered it and said hot coffee, but there was no label on it. So I probably could have helped him win that case, and it could probably be overturned in the Supreme Court. But he argued the wrong part. That's why it's imperative on how you go after them in your court cases. You have to focus on one thing, not 20 things, and the right thing. This is why we've been successful against them in court. But let's go on.
All previous court precedents that occurred prior to the year 1938 concerning our unalienable right to travel and opened a floodgate for new state and federal government controls such as the state vehicle codes and the requirement for licensing of everything and anything. Prior to 1933, we all were proud and peaceful sovereign inhabitants of America. The Trading with the Enemy Act, the Confiscation Act, and the Lieber Code obligated the military government to peacefully interact with American citizens and prohibited them from provoking us or to act belligerently toward us, or they forfeit their ability to profit and loot or to securitize our property, equity, and credit being held in a public trust. When we voluntarily or involuntarily entered their military courts of justice, one will frequently hear the prosecutor or defense lawyer argue that your comment or actions are a belligerent response or you are being combative. Keywords to inform you that you or someone else is about to be fleeced. Lawyers will even attempt to provoke you or your witness's anger in the court, just so you or they behave belligerently toward them, and this is why they do that. Under Regulation 840-10 of the Military Code and sections of the Administrative Procedures Act, and the presence of that military, gold-fringed, flag on display in the courtroom instantly creates a state of emergency, meaning that the moment a police officer stopped you in the exercise of your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the police officer became a belligerent.
Did you hear that? To my good police officers out there who already know this information, my hat goes off to the ones who are on the fence and all other sheriffs and what, because I know you guys like to watch my videos. I know you guys like to watch my videos. This is the stuff that your boss won't tell you, and you Wonder what happened in court, why the state dropped the cases against me and other people like that, and they hope that we won't sue them and you guys later on, is because you guys have become belligerents and combatants the first moment you stop somebody's doing right to travel the proper way. Hey, and so you're interfering with international commerce, interstate commerce, private law and rights. Does you don't own the streets. Those are for Americans. You only police enforce the state's codes for people who are willingly in your jurisdiction. Jazz hands here. Okay. Having a little fun, but you guys get what I'm saying. So the whole thing is, gentlemen and ladies out there of law enforcement, legal enforcement officers, that is the real deal. You guys become traitors to the United States of America. You guys can be sued in the public or private side. You're only protected so much against constitutional law, which is the superior law in the land. This is not a stab at this is a wake-up call to understand what's really going on. How you proceed from here forward, it's cool. If you're a dick, you're a dick. If you're cool, you're cool. That's it. I don't care who you are or what you are. As long as you leave me and mine alone, we're cool. That goes for everybody. But if you come for me and mine or this Constitution, you're facing something you're not ready for, in all honesty. That goes to anybody. However, we are non-belligerents and non-combatants. What did Roosevelt say? Walk softly, but carry a big stick. You've got one mouth and two ears. You should be listening twice as much as you speak. So learn. Because here's the thing. You guys can like me, love me, or leave me. It doesn't really matter. It's all been done before. Okay? But the whole thing is, if you don't know what's going on, matter of fact, you know what? You guys should be more mad than I am. I'm not really mad about any of this information. That was like 30 years ago or something like that. I was mad at them. I'm no longer mad. It's just business now. But on a daily basis, they are denying you your knowledge, you your rights and liberties and freedoms, and they're forcing you to look like traitors and scumbags to your fellow American nationals. But keep getting that paycheck. Keep believing what they don't tell you, what you don't know. Keep wondering why they keep forcing you to put the name in all capitalized letters, because that's a legal person or a legal entity. And corporations can only do business with corporations. Don't believe me? Go open up a business for yourself with the government or through the state and see how the name on there comes in all capitalized letters. Oh, what am I talking about? Open your wallet up and look at your name on your credit card, your debit card. What do you think? Most of these street signs and all the businesses have their name in all capitalized letters. Why do you think it's in Black Law's dictionary under conspicuous format, section 1-201, definition section? I think it's letter H. Or number 10. I think it's number 10. Yeah, number 10. My bad. Sorry, I've got hundreds of books, or read thousands, but got hundreds of books memorized. Sorry. Might miss a number and a letter here and there. Madman, after all. That's what they tell you about me. It's true. Let's get back to it. Have a little too much fun here, Wolf. All right, carry on, good lady AI.
Belligerent. He is armed and you're not. He displays.
And you're armed. An internationally foreign individual to my privacy pulled me over, accosted me, denied me of my rights, pretending to be a sheriff in actual law. Constitutional and federal offenses right here. Let's go on.
Displays a military rank and you're a civilian, and he has now delivered you into a military court of justice.
Because that's what the courts are. You can look up right now. Is the government under military or under Admiralty jurisdiction? So and right back there, it said under regulation 8401-0 of the Military Code, Administrative Procedures Act, the presence of a military gold fringed flag. Let me highlight this for you again. Right here. Let's see if I can blow it up on the screen. See this? Go bigger, go bigger. That's what she said. All right. Under Regulation 840-10 of the Military Code and sections of the Administrative Procedures Act and the presence of that military gold fringed flag on display in the courtroom. This is a different jurisdiction. I've been looking for that code for years. This is what my former military Boy Scout leader was talking about. Let's keep going.
Justice.
Yeah. So I got to do this one at a time.
With the intent to pillage and plunder within the Admiralty jurisdiction of that military court.
Now, I'm not saying they're here to pillage and plunder. They're doing commerce.
Court, which is also known as the law of prize and captured property, as defined under Title 10, Sections 7651 to 7681 of the Code of Military Justice, March 25, 1862. As mentioned before, the Reconstruction Act included and changed all state officials into having federal foreign standing.
Did you hear that? The Reconstruction Act put the screen on me. Put the screen. Oh. The Reconstruction Act, it just said they all became foreign agents. That's where you get the FARA Act. So under the Reconstruction Act came the fact they all became federal agents and considered foreign, which is why I tell you guys you can request their Foreign Agent Registration Act or Agreement Act that they all have to sign. I've seen it. Seen it. Now, they may not personally remember them because they sign lots of documents when they come on board. Yeah, that. That'd be like me saying, do you remember page 32 of your home mortgage or line 27 on your rental agreement? Everybody's done one of these two, okay? Or how about this? Page 3 of your end user license agreement for your computer, or page 7 of your any agreement to join Facebook or one of these things, and you read the license agreement. No, you probably haven't. And if you did, you don't remember what was in there. So when you request the FARA on them, some of them don't remember. But when you bring up that they're a foreign agent, that's going to strike a light bulb. Lightning. A lot of them look at themselves as they're Americans, but they're not when they're in office. They're U.S. citizens, which are federal, foreign, corporate entities in relationship to the United States of America and the Constitution. Organic. Okay, let's get going.
standing. The 14-inch amendment deliberately forced and kept
She said 14-inch. Thank you for the compliment. Not quite. Oh, my bad. Keep going.
kept them there. In Section 2 of the Lieber Code instructs that a victorious army seizes all money and movable property and holds it in trust.
Now, what's interesting there is because they said movable property, because the corporate flag is on a pole that is the American flag are the ones that are outside connected to the immovable earth. So how do they get our houses? Because we can take our section of earth that we privately own and register it. Why do you think Disney and ball-licking DeSantis down there in Florida are going to war? Because Disney is held in trust. And that trust is registered in England. DeSantis can't touch it, can't do nothing, can't tell. All he can do is, and he really not a whole lot other than beg and plead, because if he tries to remove the roads or put up crazy things like that, well, then he's sanctioning people, and that goes against our codes for sanctioning. Those are public roads. So even if he does put up something temporarily, the people can say, yeah, no, and Disney can sue him for everything he's worth forever. Especially if he doesn't watch my videos to learn how to operate correctly, and I'm glad he doesn't.
Trust, and this is exactly what the corporate United States government and state governments did and continue to do, because they now perceive themselves to Golarinoed FA be a victorious army. Displayed in courtrooms. The corporate Congress, the corporate military government and their corporate military courts of justice, however, discovered that they could not gain access to those public trusts deposited into the Federal Reserve System, which they had created using our birth registration forms, Social Security registration forms.
Did you hear that? Our birth registration forms, our birth certificates. They want access to Social Security registration. They want the forms. They want Social Security card. They want the birth certificates. They want our deeds. They want our promissory notes. They want our equity. They want our personal property. But they can't have them directly. We have to give them to them. Like, what was it in the Bible? They talk about Jacob and Esau or something like that, where he gave up his birthright, his land, for a meal. Yeah, okay. So that's what they're doing.
Forms, licenses, personal property, deeds, promissory notes, equity and credit, without including our individual persons into the bankruptcy of the United States Treasury of 1933. So they cleverly denied our personal sovereignty and converted our persons into an appellation, which is a corporate fiction or strawman, and identified us by writing our birth names all in capital letters.
There it is.
All of our licenses and documents now reflect this appellation.
Oh, yeah.
Note, of course they cannot lawfully do this because we are a sovereign people and they are a corporation, and under the...
Hold up. Notice how they said lawfully. They can do it legally, can't do it lawfully. Lawfully means by the Constitution they can't do it. But can it be done? Yes. If you participate, but it's not lawful what they're doing, it's unlawful. And until you bring the matter to the federal court or higher, it's just good business. But what they're doing, so when I say that what they're doing is legal, okay, that because it's their game. You've entered into their game. You've brought in something into their game. But the act of it is really unlawful. But it becomes legal if you participate and you give it to them, because you have that right as a private American.
The Confiscation Act, they have violated their own rules of engagement and military protocol, but do they care? Not anymore. The all-caps name can be researched in every state code under corporations. E.g., see the Texas Administrative Code for example under corporations, Chapter 79.31, subtitled Entities, also, th.
I've been looking for that and already have the book on corporations under American jurisprudence. Videos coming soon. Oh, yeah, yeah. I have not gotten around to this book. I've only breezed through it. Might have to look and see if there's a, what is this, two? Let's see if there's a one. Oh, uniform laws. Oh, there's so much in here. That's what I'm saying, guys. There's so much in these books. Uh, okay. Corporate existence, franchise, charter, attributes, and legal entity. A corporate entity, 42-62. Oh, there's lots of good stuff in here. Like I said, I got so many books, guys. Like I haven't gone through all of them. I usually just cherry pick what I'm looking for. Right. I'll have to do this later. Otherwise, you guys will be sitting here for a long time watching me. Um, eh, well, yeah, I guess you know what? I'll leave this book out because it'll remind me to go through it and find the good stuff. Awesome. See, this is why you got to read through things. I go back over some of my old videos, manuals, books, pamphlets I've gotten inside things all the time because sometimes you miss stuff. Sometimes your old eyes will become new again when looking at things that you might not have picked up the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth, seventh time. All right. So let's go to the next page. Once again, shot goes out to Judge Dale.
All caps name is specified in the United States Government Style Manual under the section titled Identifying Corporations.
Now that's interesting. The all caps name is specified in the United States. So that's the GPO manual under identifying corporations. All right. Well, see what we got here. Well, interesting here. It says, and words specifically denoting Satan are all capitalized, but we'll leave that alone for now. We'll just muddle over that. Okay, so I'm not seeing that exactly as, let's see here. How about we search identifying corporations? Let's get rid of GPO. Take this over to Google. See, they make light of it. Oh, it's just a time-honored tradition. Yeah, but they still use it because there's a jurisdictional thing going in there. We already know that the states operate with the UCC, and the UCC under conspicuous format under the definitions section already talks about this. But let's see what they have to say here. So here's how that they kind of broke it down to kind of hide what that manual was just talking about. It is possible to give rules that will, it is impossible to give rules that will cover every conceivable problem in capitalization. But by consideration, the purpose to be served and the underlying principles, it is to possible to attain a considerable degree of uniformity. So to make them all uniform, but see, we know it's a lie because lowercase lettering is uniform, just like all uppercase is uniform. So that's a lie, but let's go on. The list of approved forms given in Chapter 4 will serve as a guide. Obviously, such a list cannot be complete. The correct usage with respect to any term not included can be determined by analogy or by application of the rules. So how it's being used. So in other words, the government's saying, hey, we don't go by the all caps because there are so many traditions and customs and rules and other people who use that we're not held to any of that. But we know that the states are. That's why there's a difference. That's why if you try to go to the government about the name being in all caps not being you, they're going to say, yeah, that is you because I've read their paperwork. They go that all capitalized name is you when dealing with the federal government on a constitutional level, but not with the states. This is why people, this is gold, platinum covered gold or gold plated platinum. For those people who know what this is and who are fighting their court cases, because here's the thing, only the states operate by the UCC in that different jurisdiction. They are foreign in relation to the government. This is why people have lost already because the government's saying we don't have that. The states operate that's actually a different thing. So just like the use of the United States and the United States, you have to know which one you're dealing with. When you're dealing with a capitalization scenario, you have to know, are you dealing with the state, dealing with the government, and who utilizes those things And who does it mean something to? It doesn't mean anything to the government. It means everything to the states because that's a legal person. Now, I don't know if the federal government and the rest of them know this, but it is what it is. Let's keep going.
Corporations. These public trusts are not a new concept. The concept and strategy was copied from the ancient Roman Empire and their use of Roman trusts.
Yes, sir.
The ancient Roman trusts declared that everyone had died after Rome was burned, which was a staged event, and until those Roman citizens served notice upon the Roman Senate that they were in fact alive and capable of managing their own estates.
Did you hear that? That's what they're doing here. They are managing our estates. We were given up as wards to the states. And those state of Florida is different than Florida state. So the state ofs have been administering our estates for our dead entities, the all capitalized name, conspicuous format, UCC 201, number 10, under definitions, Black Laws Dictionary, Capitis Demutio Maxima. So they're saying here, if we go by old Roman law and tradition, which is what they're using, until we let the Roman Senate know that we are in fact alive and capable of managing, which would be the age of majority, because we're leaving the minor account and going to age of majority, they get to do whatever they want to do with us and our trust. We've put on their mask. We're flying their logo on our backs. And then you're saying you're not their property. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how to do commerce. Let's keep going.
Estates all were presumed dead, and the Roman Senate became the trustee over every estate and used them as they deemed appropriate. Note: you can buy your freedom for a price of $600,000 through the Department of State, which is the cost of procuring American diplomatic immunity pursuant to international law.
Okay. So this part I didn't remember reading, so I have to analyze this for 2 seconds. But you can buy a price of $600,000 to the Department of State, which is the cost of procuring American diplomatic immunity pursuant to international law. Well, I don't have that kind of money. But I will do some follow-up research to see if I can find what they're talking about and what that is. May or may not be some truth to that. I'm just presenting this as educational information. Do your own research. You're not responsible for your actions or inactions.
Law. In all other countries, this same immunity can be purchased for $95,000, which is honored in 90 of the 267 world countries with the exception of the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Isn't that curious? My point here is that everything is a game, and for enough money, anyone can play and secure their freedom from criminal law, civil lawsuits, taxes, and passports, because everything in this world is about commerce. In 1933, this corporate government enticed Americans to voluntarily register for birth certificates, Social Security, driver's licenses, voter registration, etc., and enticed us with government benefits to do so. Years later, they obligated Americans to register for all of these documents except for voter registration. These so-called government benefits were no bargain because they belonged to all of us to begin with, and over time the largest benefits have been watered down. What most Americans don't realize is that no corporation can operate or fund itself. Corporations require human beings and their credit and sweat equity to finance and operate them.
Now you understand what they do with your school loans, your houses, your car, everything else, because not use something they don't have. They need it from us. They are financial, physical, energy vampires. They're all dead. They need us to infuse our life force, energy, and juices into them. Oh man. But seriously though, facts, because they are dead, they are desiccated, they are dried up, they have no energy. So they need everything that makes us living and alive, they need it to feed off of. And without that in us, they wither and desiccate and they go away, starving the DC beast. Let's get back to it, shall we?
Them. Therefore, everything that the government claims to own actually belongs to we the public and not them. Everything they have been doing is one gigantic fraud and all of it at our expense.
Well, we won't call it fraud. We will say that it is a game that they allowed us to enter into without giving us an.
Expense. As previously mentioned, these registration programs were instituted so that the Federal Reserve banks and the corporate 50 military courts of justice could securitize and monetize the public trust accounts. Each birth certificate and social security card was eventually converted into a trust account and became a government security, like company stocks and bonds, and is marketed as a mutual fund. If you own a piece of a mutual fund investment, you are actually hedging your money against human collateral. Every bond or international security is assigned a Cusip number, and if you know how to use their formula or have
You can pronounce it Cusip or Cusip. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. Both ways are right. Gray and gray, tomato, tomato. Doesn't matter.
a close friend who is a stockbroker, you or he can convert the numbers and letters found on your social security card into its Cusip number.
There it is. Backing up what I already told you guys. Once again, I told you should probably have a stockbroker friend or videos where you can go and have them converted. I showed you guys how to do them in other videos. Okay. So let's keep going.
Number. Armed with those Cusip numbers, anyone can look up their mutual funds that your life is being collectively marketed under. Your birth certificate number is handled the same way.
Told you.
Our forced registration of birth actually made us the personal property of the state.
Woo. Now, here's where I would definitely disagree with Judge Dale. You were not made personal property. Your parents birthed you privately. They registered a name that happens to be spelled the same way as your given name. Your given name should really be we'll just use me, James Charles of the House of Lovett, in all lowercase lettering. That's a given name. It's private. It's not James C. Lovett in all capitalized letters. Those are two separate entities, which is how it should have been done. But to pull off the masquerade and the charade, they convinced all of our parents that we need names like James C. Lovett and not those dirty old native names, James Charles of the House of Lovett, or the Lovett household, or the nation of Lovett, or the Lovett nation, Lovett tribe, Lovett clan, empire of Lovett. Nope, nope. Let's just corporatize, commercialize, militarize the name. Short, sweet. John Pokashwinsky became John Polka. Ask some of your European friends about their grandmother or grandfather's ancestry where their names were chopped and mutilated to make them corporate names. Don't believe me? That's fine. This means you don't know as much history as I do. That's cool. It's cute. I remember my first beer. People sitting here trying to tell me something, but never mind. Let's just keep going. All right. So you did not become personal property. They created a public transmitting utility, trust, business, corporation, with your name, your corporatized name, your U.S. name, and then you started using it because it matched your given name. So you were not made property. You assumed it was you, so then they assumed you are giving them authority over you. No, you have authority over that state-created trust, that state-created public transmitting utility, that legal person. That's not me. If I bought Nike, the shoe company right now, would I be physically the fucking building? No. If I said the big building exists somewhere, it's an account somewhere, would I be that account? No. Just because we have the same name, those are two different things. Look up the definition of legal person, a separate and distinct entity separated from its owner. That's the legal styles of this. This is why people out there who don't know what I'm talking about is because they're not the legal department. I learned things on the legal level. I can take any of them to task all day. This is why I win in court. This is why they don't want to see me there. They leave me alone. I am not fun to play with. I will take their houses, cars, bank accounts. I will take their kids' lunch money. All of them. But I'm a non-belligerent, non-combatant. You leave me alone, I will leave you the hell alone. I know the game. I speak your language. All right, let's keep going. So you are not their property, but you're using their property as if it was you. Alter ego, this is called. Or a term I coined, multiple legal personality disorder. You believe that that's really you. Well, it looks like me. So what? If you're black, which I don't like to use the term anyway, but you call yourself a black, does that mean everything black is you? No, separate and distinct. Even that damn ID you're holding in your hand from the state, it's not you. That's a facsimile. It represents you. It represents you. It's not you. There's only one of you. You're living. I am me. I live inside of this body for the next 300 or 400,000 years, or however long it works that way. I don't know. First time on Earth. All right, let's keep going.
State. Each of us unknowingly gave our children away to the government of the state where they were born when we registered them for a government-issued birth certificate, which is how the state government controls child custody.
Right. Now, notice they didn't say the private one you made or the one from the hospital, the state government, federal government, the state government. You got it from. Let's go.
Custody.
So all those, I rarely swear on here, so I apologize for what I said earlier, but it is what it is. But to all those cocksuckers out there who are like, oh, the wolf doesn't know what he's talking about. You don't need to authenticate your birth certificate. I'm cooler with my sunglasses on than the Badwolf. And all the rest of them out there, this is why. Because to authenticate is to remove it from their jurisdiction. If you have the document in hand, you are the holder in due course. Take it out of their take it out of their hands. Now, I will publicly admit that when I said I would probably get the certified copy or certificate of live birth, the one that the state provides, the certified copy of such, authenticated, you don't have to do that. But does it hurt? No. I don't want to leave anything to these people, anything to anybody that can use it against me, or possibly. But do you have to? The only ones you need to do are the ones that say state of whatever on the top and have very little to no actual living information on the document. Birth, weight, date, time, mom, dad signatures, doctor signatures, baby footprint. When you see things like that, which are your living information, you do not have to authenticate it. The ones that come very sterile, portrait form, blue or green usually, sterilized of information, no actual living facts. Those are the ones that you should get done. Claim those and put those into your private trusts. Put on the back of it, Minnesota Rule 220, age of majority. I am of sound body and mind. I control this. I don't need the public assistance unless I ask for assistance. I am not a resident. My name in all lowercase lettering. The all caps name is, and I control it, but I'm not it, and I do not accept any physical, financial, or other responsibilities of it. Let's go.
Custody. Our children are now their collective property, and we are permitted to.
They're assumed property because you don't know the difference. Alter ego, multiple personality disorder. You're you're now I'm going to go on the thing here, and this may or may not aggravate some people out there. No offense to the ladies, no offense to the men. Never believe I mean any offense, but I'm just going to understand. I want you guys to understand something. If I work at Pepsi, no, I digress. Say I don't work at Pepsi. Say I'm out there dressed as a police officer, and I'm clearly not a police officer, though I did apply years ago, and for a federal agent. And to be in the military, but we'll leave that alone for now. And some woman out there who's getting assaulted sees me and runs up to me and needs help. And I go, ma'am, I'm not a police officer. She's like, but you're dressed like one. So I'm not one. She's going to be confused. So guys, if you're out there dressed as a baller and she's attracted to you because of that, and you're not actually a real baller, you're sending her mixed signals. Just saying. And ladies, oh, you're not off the hook either. If you're out there dressed like a 304 and he comes up to you because he's interested in 304s, which means hoe, and you're saying you're not, he's confused. So what these people are doing to us is we're walking around using the public state-created transmitting utility. And the moment you try to tell them that's not you, but everything you have, your car, phone, house, kids, everything registered to them, nothing you have is private. Your vehicle, you're out there with your passport doing right to travel, which I was the first person to pioneer that combination. And you're telling them that you're not a member of their civil society, their public society, their maritime jurisdiction. It's a conflict of information because you're saying that, but then your car is still registered underneath your strawman name, which is in their database as a legal person of theirs, a U.S. citizen. Are you with me? When you mix jurisdictions, like in the Bible, it says you cannot serve two masters. You can have two masters, but you can only serve one at a time. If you want to be in the public, be in the public. If you want to be in the private, be in the private. If you want to be public, private, public, blah, 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 you can do that, but your vehicle has to all the way be there. All the way in, all the way out. So, you decide. Let's keep going.
To keep and raise them, providing that we behave ourselves and comply with their corporate laws and regulations. The state obligates us to pay for our children, and they generally object to pay for anything unless we become dead or destitute. It is also the birth certificate that provides the police with the authority to break and enter any house under suspicion of abuse, but now the Patriot Act covers all other situations. The fee simple deed gave the state your home and the right to tax you into poverty as a tenant, and the Patriot Act eliminated the need for search warrants.
Oh yeah.
You are no longer the king of your castle, which was guaranteed by the allodial deed, because you no longer own a castle. Your personal lawyer set that one up too and received a large, one-time secret kickback from the state government on your first tax bill, in addition to the fees you paid to him to represent your best interests. Devious people, aren't they? 31. 52 of 126. When our deeds were allodial, no one could trespass on our property, not even the government. No one.
Did you hear that? Do you now understand the power of the private? Not even the government could step foot on your land without fear. But you've registered everything. Now, I'm not saying go out and watch my video or consult me on how to get a trust and put your house in there and do all that stuff and become private. It's not what I'm saying at all. Or watch some other videos on how to do it. All I'm saying is that you can be mad as you want to at them, but you gave them permission. How are you going to be mad at somebody or some entity, some corporation, some government for the fact that you have given them what you wanted to give them, and now you're going to be mad when they do stuff to you? And then of course, there's the ones out there who go, well, they're not bothering me. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even you. Maybe your friend, your significant other, your kids. They're just waiting. They've got all the time in time. Most of us, they've gotten already in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Let's keep going. Let's finish this. Let's wrap it up.
No one could tax your property and no bank could foreclose on your property.
Did you hear that? They could not and cannot tax your property when it's private. They cannot foreclose on your house when it's private. But you sure did. You did all these things, and the bank commits a lot of fraud too, but we'll leave that alone for now.
Property, but there again, no bank would ever loan you money against your property either.
Right. That's the other side. If your stuff is completely private, say your house is in a trust, and they're like, oh, you want a loan against it? I'm like, oh, no. Because they know they couldn't take your property if they gave you that money. But we'll leave alone all that fraud in there too with loans, you know. Look up modern money mechanics if you want to learn more about that.
We were the kings and sovereign rulers of our land and homes.
Were, well, actually, I'm halfway back onto mine anyway, so, but let's keep going.
Homes. Do you now see how the government has been chipping away at your basic rights and freedoms?
I disagree. They have not. That is fraud. That is false information. The government has not, nor have the states, been chipping away at your rights and freedoms. Your rights and freedoms are right where they're supposed to be in the private. You took your rights and freedoms unbeknownst to you, which could be construed as fraudulent or done under duress, and went, I'm here for the party, boys. You can call me the diddler. No, but in all reality, guys, that's exactly what it is. They're not chipping away your rights and freedoms. They're giving you benefits, privileges, and licenses that you asked for. So stop thinking that they're the enemy. You didn't ask the questions when your parents gave you these things. I didn't either. I'm not just harping on you guys. I'm just as guilty. We never want see, but see, here's the difference. I started asking questions since I was 9 years old. Why? How? Who has the authority? How do they have the authority? Where is this written? God rest my mother's soul, Ella Marie. Love you to death. I don't know how you put up with me, but your baby boy then grew up, became a man, a high value man, intelligent, IQ almost 160, genius level. That's why they wanted to recruit me everywhere I go. Nearly all the fraternities have reached out to me, government agencies, military, fraternities, and yeah, whatever. Especially when you beat them in the courtroom and the judge goes, Mr. Lovett, are you a lawyer? We'd love to have you on our side. It's all right. I just do this for we the people. But anyway, the whole thing here, they haven't taken anything away from you. You gave it away. Now go get it back if you want it. If not, close your cage door. This information, my website, these videos are for nationals only, not U.S. citizens. And to all the rest of the people around the world, use this information where you are as you see fit. I cannot vouch for all the information being exactly the same, but we do know that the game is being played around the world. Your freedoms, rights, liberties are going to be a little bit different than what we have here. I assume no responsibility for such in any way, shape, form, or fashion. That being said, guys, that's it. I will have some more videos for you guys. If you like what you see here, don't forget to hit that bell and subscribe. Share the videos. If you see anybody using any of my materials, images, logos, likeness, and anything else inappropriately or in a defamation type of way, or calling us the S word, even if it's a YouTube, if you see it somewhere, report them. Fight back, but fight smarter. Doesn't have to be physical. We don't do that, y'all. We gotta. So take care of yourselves, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Badwolf is out for now. I got more videos to make, even though I'm supposed to be on vacation.